Guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. As you can see, once again, we're not in Ultraflex Durham. We are in EP Jungle here. I was going to say Manchester, but it's actually, I believe, in Stockport, so I don't want to say Manchester in case that's wrong, but we are in EP Jungle. I'm on chest today, chest focus push, so you will see that I will do a lateral raise to begin with. I will then do a pec fly. I will then do 3 pressing movements and potentially a little bit of side laterals to finish. But the main reason behind being here is, of course, a nice little change up of environment, scenery. EP Jungle is an incredible gym. I've been here quite a few times before, and it's most definitely up there with the top gyms that I've been to. And it just so happens that we might be here for a little while, so we've had a lot on. There's been so much traveling happening, in which, like I've said before, guys, I am mega grateful for. I love it. It does make prep that little bit harder because you're always in different places, but at the end of the day, you're either going to make it work or you're not going to make it work, and you've always got that choice. And I most definitely want to make it work because I want to have a successful prep, and at the same time I want to train out of really cool fucking gyms. So with that, we might be here for a little period of time, so that's going to be cool. You'll probably get some more content from in here. That's probably a fact more than anything. We're going to actually be out of Rotherham as well, which is going to be cool. So I'm now 16 weeks out, I think 17 weeks out of first show. So again, prep's flying, but I think because we have got that much on as well, prep's going even quicker. So it's kind of cool because it takes my mind off of the food side of things, and that not really anything has changed. Like, I've not got any direct cardio or anything like that, and this is just a little warm up before I go into my session. But besides that, we'll take you through chest today. Anything you guys want to see on the channel, drop a comment down below. Like, subscribe, everything to do with, of course, supporting. And we'll just get on with this big one. Take that up. I'll take that up. So the thing as well, guys, is as you'll see me starting off chest with a lateral raise, something that I've really started taking a lot to do with more is obviously focusing a lot more on my lateral delts. My delts in general have always been a weak body part, so making sure that I'm bringing them up has been the key. But what I've also found is ensuring that not just my chest is warm, but my delts are also warm, has allowed for even better stability through pressing in general. So that's definitely something that if you are going into a pressing session, or if you're going into any session for that matter that is going to require a lot more stability, which to be fair, your majority of sessions now will, you want to be able to make sure that every single body part is warm up, it's warm, it's supported, it's going to be safe, because ultimately that's another thing that we have to focus on, is being safe in a set, being supported in a set. And if you can increase your level of stability from just doing something extra that's not going to have a massive impact on your big compound pressing or pulling movements at the beginning of the session, then absolutely do that. Although you'll see me doing a standing machine as well, guys, this is definitely something that you want to always focus on. Just nice and quickly here, I am still trying to mock what I would do with a dumbbell or what I would do with a single arm cable machine. The exact same goes on something like this. Just because it's set up differently doesn't mean you perform it differently. Always try and mimic what you do with how good you feel on another movement. So on something like this, slightly and over, and the goal with the handles, you can even perform it like this by putting your wrists against the handles. It just totally depends on how you feel the best. It's going to be personal dependent, it's going to be by preference. I always try and make sure that I'm finding that position of where I can lean over ever so slightly and push my hands as far away from me as possible with the tiniest of bend at my elbow. Like literally, I'm talking like next to no bend. So you're looking for almost a straight arm, soft elbow only, and then push your hands away from you as far as you possibly can. Just like you would do with a dumbbell or a D-handle on a cable machine. you're going to be able to get the most out of your side delts that way. So exact same goes for a machine, even if it's at the start of the session or the very end of the session. Right guys, pec deck. You know the score by now. This is always in pre-chest, just purely because, again, like what I've just mentioned, on something like a lateral raise, providing a bit more stability through things like my chest pressing movements, I'm going in with a lot fuller, I'm going in with a lot more blood in my chest. So it means whenever I get to my pressing movements, I'm able to connect better. Again, another big massive benefit and pro whenever it comes to your pressing, that it's not just a case of jump straight in and just focus on going from point A to point B and feeling your chest a little bit but not getting the most out of it. Now I'm in the position of where I need to be getting the absolute most out of each and every single compound movement as much as a smaller movement. So on something like this, I'm working. It's not taking too much from my pressing movements whatsoever, if really anything at all, because again, like what I've said, on something like this, I'm going as heavy as I can, but ensuring that things like my range of motion's on point, my connection with my chest is on point. I'll do maybe an extra set or two to make sure that, again, on something like a fly, I'm literally just directly stimulating and pushing as much blood into my chest as possible. Because again, on something like this, providing a little bit extra stability from here onto a press is only going to help my press and then help the development of my chest, which, because it's a weak body part, is more than needed. Okay. Biggest tip whenever it comes to a pec deck, guys. Nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to see the shoulders round, and nobody wants to see you all the way up here coming over your chest. Your chest's not going to get touched whatsoever. What you're going to do there is just put extra fatigue on your delt, and you're going to open yourself up to being much closer to getting injured. On something like a pec deck, as you'll see, I'm coming all the way round and then pushing my arms out. From here, I'm retracting my shoulders back ever so slightly to puff my chest up, and I'm always focusing on driving them biceps into my chest and allowing my forearms to meet each other. I'm not trying to get the handles to come in and touch each other. That's not the point of the movement. Again, you're wanting to be able to take as much range of motion as you can, but you're wanting to be able to really fill the chest up as much as you possibly can. So always try and think about puffing your chest up to your chin. Always try and push as much blood in there as possible, because you might have to drop the weight, might be a little bit of a hit on your ego, but trust me when I say this, you're going to get so fucking much more out of it. And that is what should be the goal on something like this, especially when physique development is the goal and it's not overall just how much weight we can move from A to B. Yep. Okay. Everyone watching this video is going to be really fucking shocked, because I've actually came in here with a plan. I've came in here with a plan. I'm not freestyling it today. To a certain degree, I'm still going by how I feel. That is something that will never not be the case, but I've came in more so with a structure plan, because I kind of know that in here I'm going to get on everything that I want, because they've got a lot of pieces that's very, very, very similar. But at the same time, the pieces that I'm really a big fan of, I've kind of got to know that people maybe aren't a big fan of their movements, so they're not always going to be taken. But there's literally that much to also do in here that I kind of know that I'm always going to get on the pieces that I want. So today, obviously, we've got lateral, we've had pec deck. We're moving from here, obviously, onto the flat press, flat nautilus press here, which I'm a very big fan of. Again, a really nice conversion chest press, in which if you're training chest, and especially if you struggle to connect with your chest, A massive tip from this would be always select things that converge, especially if you are in a fixed position. On something like a dumbbell press, again, something like a barbell press as well, free weighted movements are incredible. They are unbelievable. They are the bread and butter, and nobody can really argue against that. However, if you're one to struggle to actually connect with your chest, first things first, I would definitely say put that fly in at the very beginning. When you move to a press, I would always say select something that's going to converge together, because you're always going to be in that primed position to be able to actually connect with your chest. At the same time, again, on something like a dumbbell, you're always looking to be able to converge in the way. It's just how you actually do that. It's sometimes not about moving just as heavy of a weight from A to B as you can. It's about making sure that you can select as heavy of a weight as what you need, but in order to be able to just make sure you can connect with your chest. So on here, converging chest press, really fucking nice. Next up, we're going to move to the Strive incline press, which is directly behind me, and then we're going to go on to a more so higher incline shoulder press that's going to target the front delts, yes, but is also going to have a big impact on my upper chest, because at the end of the day, this is solely what the main targeted muscle is today. But we'll hit this first. We're going to send it, we're going to take it as heavy as what we need to, and then we can move on. Yep. We'll go 4. So first top end set of really the whole session from a compound perspective, big movements. This is when we start putting the support on. So I try and stay as raw as I can for as long as possible, but it just means that once I'm getting closer to that top end set, maybe for last warm up I might put straps on, or wrist straps for that matter. But then once I get to my really top end set, that's when I'm probably looking to put the most support on, because I'm realistically speaking going to benefit the most from it then. Through my warm-ups, that really is when we're putting warmth around the joints. We're making sure that we're doing everything that we need to warm up. So don't just think that you need to put your sleeves on, your wrist straps if you're pulling, knee sleeves if you're training legs. Don't think you need to put them on from the very, very, very beginning, because you don't. If you're putting them on from the very beginning, you're just totally taking yourself away from that part of actually naturally warming up your joints, which is what these are benefiting. These aren't doing the reps for you. They're not just allowing you to be able to take a set that bit further. They're keeping your joints nice and warm. They're keeping you safe. So make sure you are fully warm, then use them for them big heavy end sets when you need them. And that's why we're putting them on for this one here. But we'll hit 4 plates first. We'll see how this feels. I'll probably do this for my top end, so I'm realistically looking for at least 6 reps here. If I can hit that successfully, then what I'm going to do is I'll do a back off from here. But this feels incredible, so I'll probably hit 3 sets on here. And I'm saying that before I've even went in for set 1, purely just because of how nice it feels. And from my experience, traveling about lots of different gyms and finding what I feel really nice and finding what works for me, I stick with it. I would rather do an extra couple of sets on here than move on to something else and do 2 sets that I might not really get that much out of. Okay. Oh. 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 Ah. Okay. Oh. Ho, ho, ho. Just to know more. That still felt really good. Now, one thing as well, guys, whenever we're on pieces like this that converge very hard, so something like this that converges all the way in very narrow, the last thing you want to do is go a super, super, super narrow grip, because if you think about it, if you're going really narrow, you're going to really end up all the way in here. and you might actually be taking yourself away from additional range of motion, because at the end of the day, you always want to make sure you're coming in perfectly with your elbows, biceps into your chest, forearms in together, and not ending up in like this. So that's why even for me, through my warm-up sets, I'm making sure I find where that perfect sweet spot is for my grip, to make sure that when I converge in, the only thing I'm focusing on is being able to get as much of my chest puffed up to the best that I can. Again, something like a chest press, last thing we're wanting is to be from here. We don't want to be pressing like this, because again, don't get me wrong guys, it is personal preference, but the last thing you want to be doing is putting yourself into an unforgiving position where you're opening yourself up to injury. At the same time, probably taking yourself away from additional range of motion that you would benefit from as well, so we don't obviously want that. Something like this, you're going to be much safer. You're going to be more supported, your elbow down, just like similar to a shoulder press, you're going to be opening yourself up to more active range of motion, which again at the end of the day is only what we want benefited from. From here you're going to be able to then drive your elbows in nice and tight to your chest. You're going to be safer at the end of the day, and something that you really want to be focusing on, especially when you're lifting as heavy as you can for the range of motion and actual execution approach that you need. Guys, you need to be making sure you're safe. So take yourself away from trying to lift the heaviest and trying to make it really easy. Lift your heaviest that you can perform very, very, very well with, but make it really fucking hard. So at the same time, from a development perspective, you're going to get the most out of it. So not up here, you want your elbow diagonally down the way. That way, you're going to get a little bit more tricep drive as well, and you're going to be much safer in the movement. Oh. 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 Okay. Ha. I'm gonna do another one on here. New harder to kill hoodie. New mesh shorts. Legs actually don't look the worst in these. And we've actually got a new ribbed vest on as well. As always guys, anybody that uses my code on GASP is very much appreciated. Kiffy15 for anybody that maybe hasn't used it yet. Only use my code, never use anybody else's. Hey. Yep. Oh. Last set fucking felt the best. So this strive chest press, very similar to the prime pin loaded chest press. Again, really just trying to mock as much of an incline as I can, so focusing a little bit more through the mid to upper chest rather than trying to, again, stay on a flat, because it very much does mimic a flat press, but again, we just want to try and get as much out of being on a little bit higher of an incline, drop the seat down ever so slightly, not put my shoulders in any sort of jeopardized position, and try and really press as much through an incline as we possibly can. Feels really nice. Again, obviously I'm used to what I can do on a prime pin loaded chest press, and although they're very similar, they're also very different. Resistance profiles very, very, very different. So I'm not going on this expecting what I can do as a prime press. I'm going on this pretty much blind, giving my warm-ups a little bit of an extra minute or two, and then from there I can kind of gauge by the weight. That's definitely something, if you're using something that is is different to you, something you don't have access to, you're on a total new movement, give your warm-ups a little bit longer than normal. Don't just think that you only might need 2 warm-ups on this because you only need 2 warm-ups on a similar chest press. On something that's brand new, give it a little bit of extra time, monitor and review how things like the resistance profile is on your body, the weight, so you don't actually overshoot it too much. Always try and undershoot the weight so you can do an extra few reps, and then that means that if you do that, by the time you've hit that top end heavy set that was going to be your top end heavy set, you've done the extra reps in which you can then think, right, I could potentially take that up, drop down the reps and achieve a set that was going to be my top set. So for example, if your top was meant to be 6 to 10 and you hit 15 to 20, that then means that you can decide whether you do an even higher rep back off, or you do another straight set of that weight, or you increase the weight and you actually do that first set out rep range, because ultimately the work is all done in that amount of time. Okay. Intra-workout, guys, especially if you are having carbohydrates intra-session, make sure you're using them, because if you don't use them and then you start drinking them on like your last and final exercise, where you're probably going to be home in around 15-20 minutes max after trying to eat your post-workout meal, I can almost guarantee it'll be a challenge to sit down and try and eat that post-workout meal, especially if you're in your off season where you're actually having to eat a lot more. This is to be utilised up in the session. I'm now 3rd press in, 4th, 5th movement in, and I'm pretty much almost finished it. So that means that for the last and final 2 to 3 movements, I'm going to be able to use it up. By the time I get to my post-workout meal, stomach's pretty much empty and I'm ready to eat. You've got to make this actually work, because if you don't make it work, then it's really pointless having it intra-session. Aye. There's too many fucking 5 reppers in this session for my liking. It's one of them though. It's pretty much out with my control what actually happens in here, as when we're in here, the only thing that matters is my overall performance in the day. As long as I give everything I've got on the day, that's really all that counts. You have to remember that, guys. There's going to be sessions where you come in, you feel really good, you've had all your food, you've had really good sleep, your rest beforehand's been absolutely amazing, you've had all the water under the sun that you need, you've took all your supplements that you need, everything has just been fucking spot on. And you come in and you maybe don't leave with what you came in for. And to be fair, that's all good. That, as well as something else why I only come in and I focus on my overall performance in the day. I don't focus on just coming in with a target. On, of course, big days like my leg days, back days with deadlifts, yeah, of course I've got numbers in my head. But when I'm coming in, especially to a new place like this, I'm coming in going by feel. But at the same time, I would have probably liked less 5 reppers, more 6+ reppers, but it is what it is. Sometimes we just overshoot a little bit in the session. That's absolutely fine, as long as we make up for it on our back off. So that's always my goal in here. If I hit a top end set and it feels really good, but I undershoot the rep range, it means that on the back off set, I've got to fucking make up for it, which in every single set today, especially on say a top end set that I've had to make up for it on the back off, I've fucking done it. Ha! Much better. Oh. Okay. Man, that gets so hard so quick, but feels fucking incredible. If there's one thing though, I need physio work because my body is tight as hell. I feel as if one side is literally not working harder, but I feel as if one side is literally off a little bit. Even although everything's been absolutely perfect in the session, one side of my body just feels a lot tighter than the other. But I'm gonna have to get booked in as soon as possible to Big Phil. Phil's gonna have to use his magic hands and sort me out a good few more times before we step on stage. That's one thing, because that's something that I've really took to do with a lot more this past off season, and this prep for that matter. It's just been my overall recovery, making sure that everything is perfect. And then it means that when I get to show day and when I'm hitting my shots on stage, everything's as it needs to be. There's going to be no reason for me to come off stage and be like, oh, one side's tighter than the other, or I'm struggling to hit this shot. I want everything this year to be absolutely nailed. And that's something that I'm 1000% working on. It's like what I said the past off-season, guys, something was just different. My head's been different the whole off-season, my head's been different the whole prep. And we have had a shit ton of stuff on, and I mean this prep has been literally just thrown with obstacles. There could have been multiple different reasons on why I could easily pull out of prep, but there's just been something in my head that's stuck, and something that's been different. My mindset's been stronger than ever, and it's shown in my training as well. Like, we are into the 11th week of prep and things are still moving up. Training is still moving up, performance is moving up, strength is moving up. So there's fucking something different, I'm telling you that. Oh. Hey. Oh. Oh. Old me just wants to completely send the flies and just not really focus on too much else apart from the movement itself, but now me, older me, 10 years later me is like, no, I need to focus on what I'm actually targeting here, because it's very easy on a cable fly just to go from A to B and contract your chest ever so slightly. But on something like this, the priority is on contracting my chest to the most. I mean, getting absolutely everything out of the movement. And that's what I found in the past off season, that surprisingly, my chest has grew. My chest has developed even more. It's shapened up even more. So that's why even throughout prep, no matter what the goal is, no matter how I'm feeling on that given day, if I'm doing something like this, the focus is always just on execute it perfectly, lift as heavy as I can, but make sure the actual focus is on making it as hard as possible rather than lifting as heavy as I can and trying to make it easy. We've just got to be sensible on movements like this, because at the end of the day, we need to decide whether we're wanting to just move the heaviest of weight or we're wanting a bigger chest. You need to always think about that kind of thing. done for another day. Big session today, which I'm more than happy with. Like I say, there was a couple of sets in there that fell at 5s, which, to be fair, I would have probably have liked 6+ sets, but it's what it is. It's one of them things as well where not every session that you train out with your regular gym is going to be the same. Some sessions are going to be amazing. This is my first initial week in a brand new gym, so I'm having to really focus on getting used to it first before I know exactly where my references are going to be in terms of the weights. So again, that's something else, guys, that whenever you are traveling to different gyms, you have to take on board the logbook, unless you're using the exact precise same of equipment, and I mean the machine, the plates, everything has to be the same. That's really the only time that you can kind of use the logbook as a target, but aside of that, you need to just use it as a reference more than anything. Exercise selection for something that's going to be a similar variation, and at the same time, in terms of the weight side of things, you can use it as a reference, but you need to be willing to actually adapt to that machine first, because that's the only way that you're going to perform at your absolute best. So overall, this week has been really good. I've really enjoyed my first initial run in EP Jungle, which, like I say, is a phenomenal gym. At the same time, it's a case of building on baselines now. I know where I'm kind of going to fall for the majority of my stuff now, so now I can work with that, especially throughout prep. I know I'm going to get leaner. The stability, the core control, bracing, the support around the joints, it's all going to be dropping down, so I need to always remember that as well. So it's not always just about shooting for them targets every single session, it's about that overall performance to hold onto the muscle. But everything has been good. I'm more than happy with that. Good session today in the books. This marks around, I think, 16 or 17 weeks out. It's one of them. There's been that much on that I've not even been focusing on the amount of weeks out that I am. But aside of that, we'll find out. We'll put it in the video for you guys. But it's been a good one. So as always, I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you've been able to take something from it. If you have, amazing. If you have any questions, drop them down below. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Like the video if you can. And we'll catch up with you all in the next one.